Welcome back, everyone, to Issues of Faith. We have with us Minister Robert Gardenhire with the Schrader Lane Church of Christ. We're talking about the new normal. He's joining us via Zoom. Thank you again for being here via Zoom in these new times that we find ourselves in. And it leads to, what is the new normal for your church? For the last 3 weeks, you've been worshiping virtually, so no public worship. How are you doing that, and what are some of the other things you're doing now that these large public gatherings are not healthy and appropriate?
We're doing that through our streaming services. We have been streaming our worship services for quite some time, for a matter of a couple of years, quite effectively. Our new normal is that we're doing that, and what we did have to do was add to our streaming alternatives and capacities. On the first Sunday that we did so, our streaming service, the company that provides the service, was overwhelmed because several churches obviously were doing the same thing. So we also went to Facebook, and we're streaming through that mode as well. That's our new normal. Our members have adapted quite well to that. I'm pleased, in fact, with how responsive our members have been. And they know what time to go on, and they participate. They give us feedback. We have the ability during those services for members to email us to a prayer line, and we have elders who are off-site, who are in their homes actually, responding to the prayer requests, and we have email prayer requests as well. So our new norm is that we're staying connected with people and allowing people to express to us their needs, their spiritual interests, and thereby we're able to demonstrate that we can be vital and responsive, although we're not physically all together.
And I know we're just 3 weeks in, but do you think there are some things that you will take from this and apply when we get back to normal, whenever that is? What are some things that you think, you're seeing now that you want to use when things get back to normal?
Yes. Our prayer line, for example, we initiated the prayer line in January. We initiated it with what we call 31 days of prayer. Well, we continued that because what we saw was that our members were very responsive to coming together for prayer 3 times a day, 6 a.m., noon, 6 p.m. And in this particular circumstance, not only do our members call the prayer line daily, but we're getting people from, yesterday we had 2 people from Texas. We have people from St. Louis area. So that's something going forward that will be permanent with us, I believe, not temporary. Also, the ability for people around the country to be inquisitive, to ask us questions. We definitely see that we need to be more interactive through technology than we have been in the past. Our reach is typically unlimited, and we want to take advantage of that simply to be able to get the word out to people and to encourage people.
I talked about this going into the break, but you talked with the mayor, Mayor John Cooper, about when 3 weeks ago, essentially, when we were talking about we need to start banning some of these or stopping some of these large public gatherings. Some churches were reluctant. How did you reach out to those churches that were reluctant? What were you saying? How concerned were you by that? And talk about what you and the mayor's office were talking about in that time.
Yes, the mayor's office actually contacted us. Fortunately, during the time of the tornado relief, we had 2 days after the tornado, like 1 day after, had set up a relief center, and by that afternoon, people were coming to the Schrader Lane Church for many things that they needed. The mayor's office was aware of that, and we invited the mayor to be with us in our worship service because of some contacts that we had earlier in the mayor's office. He wasn't able to come, but very graciously he communicated with us, and 4 of his staff members came. The result was just a few days later, as the mayor and the health department were discussing the situation, they chose to reach out to us and ask us for some input in terms of what and how things could be said relative to churches in the regards to the danger of assembly. So that's how that transpired. And what we were able to do in the aftermath of that with the mayor and his senior advisors was to be part of a teleconference where there were approximately 250 churches in the Nashville and greater Nashville area. And I led the prayer, and then the mayor's staff went on with the instructions and considerations that we all needed to hear.
Do you think some people were not taking it seriously enough? I mean, we're to a pretty we're pretty far along now, and it's just March 31st, as I've said. I mean, but when you go back, and we have 3 minutes, but when you go back, were people not taking it as seriously as it needed to be taken, do you feel like?
Well, the concern was that all over the world, and religious sectors included, had to somehow understand the enormity of the situation. As human beings, we're sometimes in denial. We don't want to accept that things are as bad as they are, particularly when it's unprecedented. So yes, there were churches, and ourselves included. Although we took some action, we didn't want to fully believe that things are as they've turned out to be. So our being together on that conference call was just another means of encouraging and comforting and helping all of us to see the bigger picture.
How long are you telling your members that you believe this will last? And you don't have a crystal ball, but what are you saying to members about how long this might last?
Someone asked me that question today, and I told them I'm a preacher, but I'm not a prophet. So my ultimate response, though, is that we began our preparation with a minimum of 2 months, but preparing for 6 months or more.
And a minute left. How important is it for churches now to reassure people?
It's vital. I think the message of God, the message of Christ is, as it always has been, a reassuring, comforting effort. And if churches are not in position to reassure people with that message, then what can we do? We have to do that. And the good news is that people are expecting that of us. And I think we have the ear of humanity, because there is no greater comforting message than the message of Christ and the investment that he's already made in us.
And I'm encouraged to hear that you said in the time that you've been doing these virtual worship services, you're seeing large participation, larger participation than you had in the past. So that's positive. Maybe there is an opportunity here. Now we only have 30 seconds left, but we'll leave on that. Maybe let's hope there's an opportunity here. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. So Minister Robert Gardenhire with the Schrader Lane Church of Christ over there near TSU. We appreciate him being with us. We appreciate all of you watching Issues of Faith. Glad we could do this show, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Have a great day, everybody.